Hiya, and welcome back to Wonderland. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the best melee weapon if you're a spell shot, or if you're a spell amplifier in any way. Yeah, it's quite the complicated thing, but, and we're going to test out all of the other melee weapons. And I'll be honest, I'm a little bit peeved. I love the melee weapons, are very, very cool, but I don't like how there's no like way to hyper gain an advantage based on the synergy and the loadout of the legendary itself. Sorry, but what I mean by this is, so one of the things that I thought was going to be an absolute diamond in the rusk is this. It is called the Gloom. It's basically a snake stick. That's what it's called. It's a legendary snake stick. Now, what this does is when you melee hit an enemy, it spawns a Hydra that deals melee damage for 6 seconds. Awesome. They even specify melee damage. Okay, now we have something on this called Archmage. Melee attacks restore 5% of your spell cooldown. So to me, I think, oh awesome, now we put down a sentry and Hydras attack very quickly. They'll be able to hit multiple times with melee damage, triggering that effect and nullifying your spell cooldown. And this could be your way to power, this kind of like synchronarity within a weapon, which has always been the thing we've aimed for in Borderlands, is to find the perfect role, and this would be the perfect role. But no, not one of the many melee weapons out there can trigger those things. You always have to make contact and spend time meleeing, which as a spell shot, stupid, dumb, really fucking not good idea. Might as well show you guys that one. That is not the best for the spell shots. The one that we were using, the little tiny wand, of course, is basically what this thing does. We just melee once, maybe we can melee 2 times. It does have to look like it has a cap of 3 Hydras at a time. They're also kind of scattered randomly throughout, but yeah, they last like 6 seconds. They do okay damage. If you have a lot of melee damage, probably better, and that's probably what you're gonna want if you're playing a melee build, because the Hydras just attack so fast, which is very, very good. Now, the other weapon that to me is really cool and had like leagues of potential is this. It's called the Ragnarok, I believe? Yes, Ragnarok. But what this Ragnarok ability does is it melee attacks fire a ranged projectile, like a thread blade, like a wind slash through the air, essentially, and attaches a sticky bomb onto an enemy after a duration. So we're basically doing ranged melee damage. That this projectile deals melee damage, and I presume that the explosion also does melee damage. But this one's very cool. We can actually hold this down and just start launching these things. As far as the like projectile thing, first of all, sometimes it's almost impossible to hit. Where are we going? This, melee. No, stop it. I don't want to do a lock-on melee. I want to just do that. I haven't... Oh, we hit? I'm not sure if I'm not hitting, or what. I'm trying to make, like, stick them, but nothing has happened. Anyways, hopefully we'll get hit with this. So if we hit a light thread, can we not lock on? I just want to hit him with a light thread. It says it hits a bomb. I melee actually contact. Yeah, I don't see the detonation thing it talks about, like piking somebody. It sounds like you stick a bomb on them. Weird. I don't know, maybe I'm just not seeing it, but it certainly doesn't feel that way. Regardless, it doesn't count as melee damage. If it would be really cool if every single time you hit from afar, if one of those light threads, which is actually kind of hard to connect with, if that was to give you some healing, reduce your spell cooldown, something. Literally anything. But no, it's literally just like, it's a melee weapon. Just a thread of light that does no damage. Like, great! What the fuck are we doing? Anyways, the next one that I wanted to show you guys was this one. This one's also really cool. Again, melee attacks create 3 lightning projectiles that restore ward up to 100% of the damage dealt. And we got Echo. Melee attacks deal 10% of the non-melee damage dealt by the Fate Maker for over the last couple seconds. So for me, this is actually a pretty good build. It's just buff and gun damage and not dark magic, which I kind of need for my build. Anyways, but this is actually a little more close to the wire. So for this, we can see that it says melee attacks trigger a Hydra that deals melee damage, but doesn't necessarily count as melee attacks, because Vampire triggers off melee attacks. So this one actually, yeah, probably won't trigger it as well. It just says that basically the damage dealt by the 3 birds is returned to shield, and it does a lot of good AoE. But if it contacts, you're restoring a part of your ward. If I can contact with goddamn anything, Jesus goblins, you're the worst. I'm the worst, probably. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's on a delay, or at least it's not. Maybe you have to actually contact with your melee. Yeah, it is. No, I don't even know what it is, man. It like, this is what I mean. The melee theme seems like things are on. I hate when they do things like this, and this is why I'm a little bit, oh my god. Oh my god, I'm a little bit triggered also. Pick me up. Come on, Hydras. Do something. Thank you. Okay. But like clearly there's a deadline on that. Like we hit a bunch of people with these birds, we even melee hit them, and we weren't taking chunks of our shield back, despite we're doing some melee damage, because it doesn't specify. Yeah, damage dealt 100% of the ward. Now maybe if we were doing a shit ton of melee damage, then we would be able to get chunks of our shield back. It's a slow attacking weapon, which is why it's kind of nerfed. But even still, I do feel like it's on a delay. And I don't know, man. I just feel like that this is specifically the wrong path. Like, there's so many things this game does right. Like a round of applause to Gearbox. But this to me is big. This is the thing that makes legendaries worth hunting. This is the thing that makes purples worth hunting. In fact, that's the craziest thing, is that purples are more unique than legendaries, which is fucking madness. But yeah, the fact that these have this limitation thing to it takes away the hunt and the want for those things. Especially when there's things that, like, to me it seems like there's an internal cooldown for the amount of shield chunks you can regenerate. And stuff like that, which is not otherwise specified, which is again pretty frustrating. And also, that's just right, but that's just all with legendaries. There's so many legendaries that have a huge cap. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if this TDR weapon could spawn with pixies, or guns with wings, or blade storm, because it's literally that. So to me, just that limitation makes the legendaries just fucking boring. Like, so boring. And that sucks. Because, like, legendaries are supposed to be the most, holy shit, look at this! It's also volatile! It's chaotic! No, none of that ends up feeling, at least me, I don't feel that way. Anyways, sorry to be a downer, but there still begs the question, what is the best magic weapon? Well, we have two choices, okay? We have this choice, which is actually incredibly aesthetic and is so hard not to use. But it says, Mage Staff, melee attacks create 3 fissures that seek out nearby enemies, dealing up to 110 weapon damage as spell damage. So this converts, this is what we're kind of looking for. This converts your damage of your, like, spells and your weapon and all of these things into spell damage. Now, I don't know if that means the melee weapons damage, it just converts it into spell damage, which means it can scale a little bit better when the algorithm is done dealing with it, which is pretty good. But again, you have to contact with a melee attack in order to get the reduction on Archmage, on your action skills or spells, sorry, just spells. So again, you have to get point blank and start hitting someone with a thing in order to get your spell to cool down. Meanwhile, this has some of the most insane range in the game. Bar none. Yeah, you put this fissure that goes fucking, like we reached that. But yeah, this thing goes, I think, has limitless range. It's insane. And if there's multiple enemies on field, it will create 3 of these like fissures, which is so good. But it doesn't take away the spell cooldown thing. So if I activate all of my spells and I just try to burn them, and then I do this, and then I do this. I have really low spell cooldown anyway, but we're not gaining chunks back, you guys can see. It's just my normal cooldown. I would have to go up to them and actually contact. And it's also, we're doing good damage here is because I amplify spell damage and stuff like that. But yeah, you guys can see now I'm getting chunks back. Well, I was. Okay, so let me melee something again, and then we'll do this. Okay, we're on cooldown. If you guys, fuck me, he keeps jumping around. And they also die too quickly because I do spell damage and they just get chucked around. This weapon is very good. But yes, but it's also kind of a weapon that is like, hey, do you want to melee and create like a melee spell fissure build? Maybe, I'm not sure. I personally don't really want to do that because yeah, I want to be a mage, I want to cast spells. But this is a cool option, is one of the funnest like weapons in the game kind of thing. It's very good. But that is not the best, although it is probably the second best, and the one that I have is just magnifique. Only thing that'd be perfect is if it had volatile, but basically it does bleed damage. We have on spell cast, you do amplify dark magic damage. That's just improving that. When I say bleed, I mean dark magic, damn it. Also, its base subsets are okay, although that's not what we're really here for. And of course, we got Archmage, which will reduce our spell cooldown, and the specific reason why you use a staff if you are playing a spell-like character. So it's just perfect. It's like the perfect thing. I will eventually upload a save file when I get my first build out, and this will probably be in my inventory when I drop that. So just to let you know, if you want it, it'll be there soon. But This, my friends, this tiny little wooden stick is unequivocally the best spell melee weapon or mage melee weapon, and it's very similar to the pickaxe, if you guys have ever seen that one, the one that gives you buffs based on picking up money, but this one is way more gain with very little to spend. But anyways, melee damage deals spell damage instead of melee damage, so it just overwrites it entirely. It doesn't take weapon damage into account, it just pivots all around, which is nice. Melee attacks increase spell critical hit chance by 80% for 60 seconds. So you melee and your spells have an 80% increase to critical hit. That is fantastic. And the one thing that would actually not be the worst for this weapon is to get it with the one that we just had. The one that on melee attack we get what is it, 5% chance to shave off 5 seconds of our cooldown, or 5% of our cooldown. The reason why that's good on something that's a fast attacking weapon is so that when we do have to get point blank in melee, we can get like 3 hits in and shave off like half of our cooldown, which is very good. But you'll still have to wait 5 seconds because Gearbox has that weird limitation there, because cooldowns don't work past 5 seconds, which is shitty. But anyways, but yes, melee once, and now your spells have 80% chance to hit with and crit, which is fantastic. And again, it's not that much of a buy-in, and also this is one of the weapons that attacks like instantly, like so fast. If I hold it down, we're constantly whipping this wand around. It doesn't have the greatest range, but we will be pulled into enemies when we go to melee. So we melee once, and now our spells have a higher chance of critting, although my build would melt anything in 2 seconds anyway, really. It's mostly my pixies that are doing good damage, but anyways, we melee once, we melee twice. Yes, all we can see plenty of crits happening from Magic Town. I'm about dead, it's rough. Also, I think my pixies count as spell damage, so we're gonna try that out. We're gonna try this. We're gonna throw down a bunch of those, and now we're gonna melee. Well, he died really fast. Okay, I need to hit somebody. Damn it! Wait, please. Okay, boom, melee, perfect. Okay, now we're gonna do some of this. We're gonna do this. Now we're gonna melee again just to make sure. And now look at all those crits. Hundo P percent crits, baby. Lovely. He's melted. My pixies do a lot of damage. That's why everything was dropping. Because I threw a couple pixies to heal me, and they also kill everything in 2 seconds. Also, stop it. But yes, this is just something easy. Use melee, and you're good to go. Again, I could just do this melee, activate this, and activate some of my spells, and they would do significantly more. I do think it pays off when you have like long spells like this that have like 5 hydras like constantly doing critical damage. Which is pretty damn nice. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I just want to make a quick video because I don't know, honestly, this is half and half a video that I wanted to be helpful, to be like, hey, this, if you see this weapon out in the wild, it's not worth sleeping on. It increases your crit chance by 80%. I think it's 80% of whatever crit chance your spell has, but it's still long, like way better than anything we have. Besides the staff. The staff is a pretty good thing, but it's specifically different. The one that I have is actually in some cases better, just because if I ever needed healing, this does dark magic damage and buffs dark magic damage, and specifically for casters, it's like the best of the best of the best on top of each other. I also wanted to make this video kind of ranting a little bit about that. I do find it absolutely frustrating and annoying that melee weapons seem to have that limitation on them, and that's honestly like all of the legendaries seem to have that limitation, and maybe it's just because my build very much hungers for a Furior that is a legendary that would be awesome, but instead it's all the legendaries are eclipsed by purple Furiors. Not one is even close to what a decent purple is. This is not even a great purple. It's okay. It's not volatile. It's not like ×2, because you can get a ×2 with the one thing and it just gets exponentially insane, but I digress. Now, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you do enjoy the rest of your day. This has been what is the best melee weapon in Wonderlands, specifically for mages. Again, there's a variation on like what is good for actual melee users. This is most certainly not it. But I could see there being some sort of Frankenstein spell shot melee build. Specifically, probably utilizing Hydras and Pixies as your 2 spells that will keep you alive, and if you have this thing which converts 30% of your damage into dark magic damage, that means you can basically heal and stay alive forever, and that will also not dominate your elemental options, which is really nice. That's why this one is like so good. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, in the next video, I want us to pursue a question that to me I've looked everywhere, I have not found it. I want to specifically get a good read on what the hell this is. And that is, What the fuck do pixies and guns with wings count as? Guns with wings, I think, count as companion damage, but I think they're just terrible. But pixies are something else entirely. They're insane. I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I can see you in the next video. Subscribe button over to my right, 2 videos further that way. Thank you once again for your time, and goodbye, my friends.